HifiVega back again with another how-to video. This one's going to be how to build A-pillars. This was my first time attempting to do this, so you'll be able to learn along with me and some of the tricks that I learned and some of the mistakes that I made. Also, unfortunately, I didn't get a whole lot of video on this, so a lot of it's going to be pictures and me telling you how and what I did to do this build. First things first, if you're going to build tweeter pods, you're going to need something to mount your tweeters to. You can use many different materials. I chose MDF because that's what I had on hand. This is actually 1/2" MDF, and the way I created this was using 2 separate hole saws, and I left enough gap in between to mount the flange of my tweeter. Here's the tweeter inside the MDF ring, and as you can see, it's a pretty good fit. It's actually a press fit, so I'm not going to have to use any extra mounting hardware. Now I'm going to put the tweeter on the A-pillar so you can see that I don't really have any clearance issues, and I'm not going to have to use any dowel rods in this particular application. And as far as placement, the way that the A-pillar angles, it's going where I'd like it to go anyway, so I'm not going to have to mess with any of that type of stuff. I'm just going to direct mount it straight to the A-pillar, and then I'll be good to go. As you can see, I had previously tried a few different tweeters in here, so I needed to fiberglass this area up and get it solid and ready for the MDF rings. Okay, yes, I know you guys are looking at the bottom picture and wondering how that got cut. No, it wasn't a wild animal or a beaver. It was me trying to use a Dremel tool to cut a perfect circle. Obviously that didn't work out, so New Me went out and bought a hole saw kit. You should be like New Me and use hole saw for all this stuff. Nevertheless, we can put the MDF rings up here and get them in the position we want them to be in, and then we'll be ready to glass them in. Once I got the MDF rings in the place that I wanted them, I went and took my hot glue gun, glued them in place. Once that was done, I could take the resin and bond them to the patches that I had already created. If you need to learn more about how to use fiberglass, I'll add a link in the description below for my center console build where I go in much further detail on how to do that, how to mix, how to use it. Once the fiberglass was cured, I was able to take a die grinder and sandpaper and trim off any excess that I didn't need and try to blend all that fiberglass into the plastic the best I could and get it ready for the next step, which would be Bondo. I learned many lessons on Bondo doing this, and the most important one that you need to know right now is do not let this stuff completely cure before you start shaping it. Start shaping it when it's semi-cured. It's much easier to work with then, and if you wait to the end, it is going to be a nightmare to sand all this stuff down. I cannot tell you how much time I spent sanding this stuff down. The second lesson is, as you can see, I left a very steep peak on that. So the problem with that is, although it looks pretty good, it makes it harder when you're going to cover. Especially if you're going to use vinyl or something like that. I used carpet at first to test, and that wasn't an issue at all. But when I went to vinyl, it was very, very hard to shape it and get it to adhere the way I want it to adhere. In this photo, you can see the peak. It's very sharp up into the ring. If I had to do this over again, I would definitely make the slope at least 1 to 2 inches out, farther out to the piece, and that would make it much easier to wrap and cover in the end. At this point, I had done a little more sanding, and I went ahead and threw my tweeters in there to see what they look like. After a little bit of sanding, I'm about ready to cover, and as you can see, these aren't paint ready. I didn't sand it or do enough body work for these to be painted, but since I'm covering them, you're not going to be able to see a lot of these little flaws right here, so it's not going to be a big deal overall. Here it is, the finished product. Now the first go around, I covered it with fleece because I wanted to make sure my position was right and I didn't want to change anything like that. Because I don't want to waste my vinyl, and it takes a long time to wrap in vinyl. But in this next picture, you're going to see I had it wrapped in vinyl. I had everything pretty good. It wasn't perfect. There were some things I wanted to change, but you guys know the story of the Mazda. Mazda got wrecked, and I didn't get the chance to finish it out. So this is what I ended up with. I think they look pretty good. I learned a lot of lessons along the way. Hopefully you guys learned some lessons watching this video. If you like this type of stuff, like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that. You can check me out on facebook.com/HifiVega. And thanks for watching again.